Hi everyone! So today I am going to review the Silver Black Velvet round watercolor brush in size 8, and I have shown you this brush in my recent haul video, and quite a few of you were really interested to see what I think about it. I haven't actually played with this brush at all. It's been sitting in my brush jar. If you actually want to see what it looks like, I can show you. It's super cute. It's a French bulldog, kind of one of those, you know, when they move type of thing. I think I got it in Zara Home ages ago, so that's where all of my brushes sitting. Let's do this. So I'm thinking which color to use today. I probably will use the Pyrrole Scarlet by Daniel Smith. So it's this red color here. I like to swatch with red. So when a brush is new, it has been dipped into solution, which acts like a glue in a way, but it doesn't damage the bristles. It actually does the opposite. It tries to stick the bristles together so that the brush makes it in a good shape when it gets to you, and that is the reason for it. So all you do is, I've shown this before, but basically you take your, sorry for the slightly dirty water, but it doesn't matter for this purpose, you just kind of swivel around it and try not to touch the bottom so that you don't damage the bristles. Now the tip is starting to soften, as you can see, but the actual belly is still quite hard. So I'm just going to continue doing that, and then you can either use your finger or the side of your jar if you don't want to get wet fingers. Just go like that and then rotate the brush and very gently push it on the side. Don't use any pressure because you can damage the bristles. So go around it like this. It's completely soft now. And let's try just to compare it with my commonly used Jackson's quill brush in 10-0. It is a fairly similar size. Obviously a quill brush comes in a different size. So this is the only brush I have, as you have seen, just in my brush collection, in that French bulldog glass. I don't have any other brushes that have black bristles. So because I tend to kind of judge how much color and watercolor I get on the bristles by looking, you know, and seeing the pigment, this is going to be a different experience to me. So let's start. So I'm just going to make sure, a good tip to not damage the bristles of your brush is to always make sure you drop a water droplet into your pan so that you can pick up watercolor without damaging the bristles. So what I'm going to do is make sure I load my brush with watercolor, so not just the tip but the actual whole thing. So I'm just going to go actually here and make sure I've got enough space and really saturate my brush with the watercolor. So let's see now. So I'm just going to start off by doing fine lines. So because the brush is full of water, it will be hard to get fine lines, but I just want to attempt anyway. Just going to do a bit of a tribal pattern here. And now I'm starting to be able to get much finer lines as I get towards the end, because the water is starting to reduce. So if I try to go on the very tip of the brush, I'm able to get hair thin lines, but you have to be very, very light with your hand. So there's a little air bubble coming off, and that always happens when the brush is new, so it will spread the tip of the brush. So just make sure you press the bubble out on your palette and back. So these are fairly thin now. Okay, so let's now do the same thing, and we're going to go back into the water, get loads of watercolor so that you see what I'm doing here. Just going to show you. And now I'm just going to try and see what the brush strokes are. By the way, the paper I'm using is Moulin, the smooth paper. So it is holding a lot of moisture. You can see only now it's starting to get this type of a dry stroke. The other thing I want to try with this brush is dry brushing. So I mainly just have the pigment, and that's, although it's a smooth paper and there is literally no texture at all, it gives me nice brush dry brushing effect. So that's really nice. Now let's try and do something else. So this is just to show you how much the brush holds and how it distributes the pigment. So let's start here. I'm going to do very thin and then push and up. So very thin and push and up. It's very therapeutic, and these always remind me of bamboo leaves. So okay, the other thing I want to show is doing a wash with this brush. So I'm going to load that, the brush, and so I'm going to start just with the regular kind of swatch, and then the brush holds really huge amount of water, but it's actually very nice and controllable. It's a very staining color, so you need to work fast. So it's quite nice. I'm going to try a few other techniques just to see what they look like. So I'm going to do this and then see how much water it can drop for the blooming. Yeah, it feels really nice. It's kind of, I feel like I'm in control of it. So let me try and actually illustrate a very small geranium flower. I always feel like if I'm in doubt, I should just illustrate geranium. Okay, so I will treat it as normal, as I always sort of would work with this. Oh, lifting, we haven't tried lifting yet. I'm going to try this at the bottom here. So I'm just imagining that's how I'm painting, just regularly. So it's quite good. It's not dropping off all the water immediately, as a quill brush sometimes tends to do. It's giving me a good sense of control, so I'm just going to with the tip of it I can get into these little nooks and crannies. It's quite unusual actually for me to have such a fine tip that really works. So I kind of find it's quite long as well, so it's great for detailing. In my other brushes that I was actually buying and hoping they would do that, they never did that. And here I need to always sort of pay attention of where the tip is going, because it's sort of, in a way, it sounds strange maybe, but it's just comparing it to my other brush experiences. Like I said, you know, it's great to use for detailing, so it's just something that requires getting used to. So because of this teeny pointy tip, and you see now how long it is, I hope you can see. I'm just going to try and show you. There we go. You see how it comes to a super fine point, which is quite longish. So for that matter, I could achieve these little quite precise highlights, which are very hard to do otherwise with my other brushes. For example, this one here. So if you see, it's still a little bit wet. Actually, let me just moisten it so you can see better. So here is my quill brush, and you can see that the tip just is not at that pointy level at all. So if you're looking for a brush to have a belly, to be able to hold water yet to have a fine tip, I think this is a great brush. So I would not be able to achieve something like these fine detail little highlights with my quill brush, no way. Okay, so the final thing I want to do is just do some lifting. So this is this is a technique that is used quite often in botanical art. So I just want to try that. So for lifting, you need to ensure that there is no moisture left. Wow, it's like a sponge. Okay, we haven't seen that. Let me do this again. So make sure you take out all the water, and then dry brush goes in and lifts. That is pretty incredible. I'm going to do the same thing with my quill brush just next to it, just to show you that it's a complete different thing. Obviously here it has now dried the watercolor, so it's not lifting on this area, but it's nothing to do with the brush. As you saw the other two times, it lifted beautifully. So I'm going to do the same thing with my quill brush just to demonstrate. It's not very good for lifting, I find. So I've done exactly the same sort of swatch thing, and I'm washing the brush out. I'm doing exactly the same thing, taking all the moisture out, and it's just not doing the same thing. You see, it's not as strong and precise. You don't have as much control over it. So this lifts a lot better. Okay, well, this is a very positive review. I'm very happy I got this brush. This brush is a mix of real squirrel hair and also synthetic. So it has that beautiful softness of a squirrel, but it definitely is not over soft, as if you would go for a completely squirrel hair brush, it just would be very floppy in a way. This one still holds it. I mean, you can see there's a little bounce there. It's very soft for sure, but it still comes back I got this brush on Jackson's and it's now sold out, but I have seen this brush on Amazon, but unfortunately they don't sell it as a single brush. It comes in a set with 2 other brushes, and it's a very great deal if you work out the pricing. So anyways, I will link everything below, and that was it. A very, very happy discovery here. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.